first time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davie, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite.
Hello, Davie Portman here from upNXT, postwrestling.com, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you find your podcasts. Hello, we are here with you, and it is Wednesday, and you know what that means. It is BDElite. Yes, this is our weekly AEW review, but you might notice that I am not joined by my roommate today. I am not joined by Braden Harrington. He is still in Mexico, having just the best time, and but I'm joined by someone else who I think is having an all right time as well. Someone I spoke to a bit earlier today on the Big Fat Wrestling Quiz of the Year, which is going to be dropping tomorrow on the British Wrestling Experience. Find out how we did in that. My teammate, Mr. Shot in the Dark himself, John Siino Evil. Siino, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. So what are we calling this? Is this CD Elite? Is this DJ Elite? Like, are we going to call it something else tonight?
DJ Elite, would it be?
That sounds like an old like NXT wrestler. DJ Elite.
A shot of JD? Is that what we're calling it?
Okay, I'll take that.
Maybe. Yeah, but
we'll stay with BD Elite.
I think for just the branding, let's just stick with BD Elite today. But yeah, John, I know you've got a mammoth week of recording this week, but how are you keeping? You're a voice our listeners should be pretty familiar with, but how's it all going? Are you all set for Christmas? What's going on?
Yeah, Christmas is all set. I did all my shopping. I did it, like you mentioned, a lot of podcasting this week. I was talking to WH and Way about Spider-Man last night for over 2.5 hours.
I listened to the whole thing today. It was fantastic. I highly recommend going and listening to that, or watching it. I believe you can watch it all as well.
Yes, I would definitely watch it if you could just see the reactions that me and Way have when WH gets into his little nerd tangents, calling everybody a nerd when he's the biggest nerd that we know. So that was a lot of fun. And then we did, like you said, the trivia show with the BWE. So I'm losing my voice, and I don't know if it's legit me losing my voice because of all this recording or if there's some other stuff going on. Because things aren't looking too good in New York. Once I got the email from my my son's school saying that, hey, just so you guys know, the kid's gonna be taking home the iPads right before winter break, just in case they're not able to come back after winter break. And I'm just like, oh, are we doing this again? We're gonna do this again, aren't we? So that's a little worrying right now, unfortunately. That plus coworkers not coming to work, and it's getting bad, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably a good segue to our first news item of the day. I tested for COVID earlier, about an hour before watching AEW Dynamite today. So yeah, highly recommend everyone gets tested, and continue to get tested. Try and get your hands on those rapid tests if you can. I'd like to just kind of start the show by just sort of saying, like what I've been through the last few days. So I got the flu about a month ago, and was really bad. Was like bedridden. You might remember I took NXT off that 1 week. I might have taken both the shows off that week, and was bedridden, temperature, all of that. Had a PCR test, came back negative. Kind of waited it out, started to feel a bit better. But you know how it is, kind of you have a cold or a flu and you have like the sort of lingering stuff afterwards. So I've had a bit of a tickle, a cough since then. And throw on top of that, I record a lot of shows for a living. I'm in a bar, that kind of thing. Haven't been like fully like back to normal since then. But we do have these rapid tests at work. So the last kind of last few days, I've been taking them daily, these tests, and keep on coming back negative. Then I heard one of my co-workers got tested positive for COVID, and so I tested again the next day. Another negative test came through. And then a co-worker who I worked with on Saturday tested positive for COVID. Now, the first one I hadn't worked with in person, but obviously sharing the same building. She's on the bar as well. We do clean and all that, but these things can happen, right? My second co-worker tested positive for COVID, so I took another test yesterday, and that was 3 days in a row now taking a test, and that one came back negative as well. So kind of thought I'm good. And then today, you might hear it in my voice, it's a little hoarser than usual. And I went for my walk. I went for my usual walk, and then I get a message from two other friends who, one of them I saw fairly recently, the other one not, but they've tested positive as well. So it's kind of going around, and certainly kind of the industry I work in. And I'm gonna just kind of be a bit gross, but I think it's important that people kind of know what like symptoms there are. I have like eczema, and I noticed like last night the eczema around my eyes got pretty bad, which it's been kind of under control recently, and had a bit like spottier than I normally would be. And then while I was going on my walk today, I almost pooped myself. And I'm like, that's weird. So I contacted one of my friends at work to ask if she could bring out one of the tests so I could take home and test myself. And sure enough, it came back positive. And I kind of just had this sort of gut feeling that something wasn't right. So I'm now locked up at home, and that's going to be my Christmas this year, as it is for many people. But I will say, I feel, compared to how I was the other week when I had the flu, I feel pretty good. Slight hoarse voice, but I have been recording a lot, and a little bit of a jippy tummy. Other than that, I feel pretty normal. Definitely mild symptoms. I have been double vaccinated, so I'm hoping that's maybe why I'm feeling not so bad. But I will say, kind of maybe trust your gut, especially around this time. If you are feeling odd, try and get some tests. Try and order some tests so you have at home. Don't necessarily trust a negative result, even though that might be what you want to see. As I said, I've had 4 tests in 4 days, and the fourth one came back positive. So yeah, that's that. It's going to be a COVID Christmas for me. I guess. And yeah, so just get tested, guys, and be safe.
Yeah, obviously take care of yourself. We're all thinking about you. We want the best for you, Davie. It just sucks. Like, I feel like just like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about me possibly coming up there for the Royal Rumble. I was like, yeah, but now it's like the whole world, like within this small amount of time, is like upside down yet again. And it sucks because like now they're showing they're going to have Danielson and Hangman Page in Newark. And it's like, oh, do I want to go to this show? Could this be the last show before everything shuts down again? And I'm so conflicted. So much stuff going on. It's just, it sucks, man. It really is. There's no other way to explain it. We've gone through this before, and I think that's what makes it worse, is we know what we're going to expect.
I mean, I will say I'm grateful for being able to go and see All Out with you in Chicago, and go to Wrestling Grandstand when I did, when things were kind of felt like they were in a good place. And I'm grateful if we are going to be going into lockdowns and stuff again. I'm grateful that I was able to do that and be able to kind of get out of Toronto briefly and catch some live wrestling, because it might be a while again. And
that's true.
I'm a bit worried. I've got flights booked to go home and see my family in February, who I haven't seen for 2 years. I'm not really celebrating Christmas this year. The tree behind me right now is about as Christmassy as I'm getting. But yeah, so I am looking forward to seeing my family in February, hopefully, and celebrate Christmas then. But who knows with all this? But
Yeah. And worst case scenario, I'll be here to do these shows with you while Braden and Jack Evans can do the Mexican spinoff.
Hang out in Mexico. But I will say, like, I've had, I don't want to kind of like undermine this, and everyone is different from this, but I'm double vaccinated, and this is pretty mild. Like, I've had colds that have kind of affected me worse than this, and I'm hoping that's possibly because I am vaccinated and my immune system has worked up, and I am feeling pretty good despite the. It's more annoying than anything, right? Like, I'm good. I've got my health. At the moment, the symptoms seem fine. Ask me again in a couple of days, maybe. Who knows? But right now, it's more just a bit annoying because I'm going to be stuck indoors for a while over Christmas. But I think my plan is to watch all the Spider-Man movies again in order. Maybe skip over Spider-Man 3 and just listen to our review on patreon.com/upNXT. But yeah, I think that's what my plan is. And maybe pick up the PlayStation again and get watching some of these best matches of 2021. And this is going to be my segue, because we are doing, on New Year's Eve, we're releasing part 1 of our best match ever 2021. I've put up a short list on the Facebook group and on the Patreon, which everyone can vote on. There's a short list of 26 matches there for you to pick on from, and I want to know your top 10 matches of the year. We compile these, we put it all together, we add up all the votes. I have a spreadsheet, a Google Sheets spreadsheet, and we determine what are the top 10 matches of the year. So yeah, go if you're like me, if you're going to be locked down, or even if you're just staying in and you don't want to risk going out or anything during this time, check out these matches. Let me know what ones are your favorite, and I'll be tallying them all up. So I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of work to get on with over the next few days anyway. But yeah, John, Christmas just a few days away. Are you all set? I know you've got your son Lorenzo. Have you got everything for him yet? Are you any last minute shopping? Are you going to be like Arnie on Christmas Eve, rushing around fighting over the last toy?
No, I did. I'm not going to say too much because my son is nearby. He has headphones on, but I don't trust the headphones. But I did get all the gifts. I did get them ahead of time. Fortunately, I work at a retail place where I do get discounts. I was smart enough to make up some friends around the mall. You know, I have a friend that works at the chocolate store, and I have a friend
I've seen your friends, John.
So the fact that I was able to make some friends, and it definitely helps this time of the year. Us helping each other in a whole mall environment is a pretty cool thing. But yeah, I was able to get all my shopping out of the way so I can just relax this week. And I work only one more day before the Christmas, so I can probably take it easy that day. But what sucks is, like, January 1st is like the big day for Lego. If you guys don't know, I work for Lego. So January 1st is like their big day. So like all the new sets come out. So we actually get paid time and a half that day, because not only is it on New Year's Day, but just the fact that it's like their biggest day of the year. So, and I think the whole notion of that is, we don't have that much now. We're going to give all these gift cards to everybody, and then they're going to come back with the gift cards and do their shopping on January 1st. So that's the day I'm actually dreading the most going back to work, is on New Year's Day, but I'll be there.
Excellent. So is that your first day back, New Year's Day?
Or... No, I work a couple days, like, in between Christmas and New Year's, but that's gonna be like the big like actual working day. I think right now we've been taking it easy because honestly we don't have much in our inventory. Like, if you didn't do your shopping already, like, and you want to buy Legos, you're probably not gonna find what you want because we don't have much left. But we're gonna get all that stuff for New Year's Day. Awesome.
And what's a typical Christmas dinner in the Siino household?
So we usually have seafood on Christmas Eve. It's like we usually seafood, and we all kind of like stay up late at night. We might play a game of cards or something, watch some movies, listen to some music, and we usually open up presents on Christmas Eve itself. And then Christmas Day is just relaxing. Some people go to mass, some people just kind of hang out with their family. But Christmas Eve, I think, is like usually, like in my culture, at least, like Italians, I feel like that's more like a celebrating day. And then Christmas is just a day where you just relax and just kind of do nothing all day.
Yeah, I think that's a lot in Europe. The kind of 24th is celebrated more than the 25th. But yeah, awesome. I'm looking forward to it, and I don't know what I'm gonna cook this year. Normally, I like cooking a big turkey, and my plan was actually to maybe cook a Christmas dinner and then kind of send it out to my friends who are in lockdown. But now I'm in lockdown as well, so who knows what I'm gonna do? Might just have a nice steak or something.
Yeah, make yourself a nice meal for yourself.
I think so, absolutely. But yeah, I think maybe over the next few days I'll be getting on Twitch a little bit more, because we are live on twitch.tv/upNXTpodcast every Tuesday and Wednesday night at 10:15, reviewing NXT 2.0 and AEW Dynamite. So hello, Twitch room. And before we get into our Dynamite review, let's just run down a few of the things that's going on with us. So you can check out a review of last night's NXT 2.0 on this very feed. John, you've got a new episode of Shot in the Dark. What are you covering this week on the show?
Yeah, I feel like this week and next week are going to be a little bit more on the lighter side, because a lot of these shows are doing like best of specials or holiday specials. But you're still going to see, a couple things of note that happen on these shows. But yeah, I still cover Ring of Honor is down to its final 2 shows. I think next week might be the final show before they go on a hiatus. So they're kind of hyping up this Christmas special. And then AEW Dark, and Elevation, they still continue with their shows. And then whatever happens with 205 Live, I'm still waiting for this rebrand or whatever that was promised by one Joe Gacy. So I'm looking forward to whatever maybe that's going to be in the New Year's, but I'm looking for some sort of change with that show.
I would assume after the unification match, we'll probably get that at New Year's Eve. Well, on Thursday on the patreon.com/upnext, we've got a special reviews from the 6, where Braden and I are joined by John Pollock from Post Wrestling to talk all about the 1990 Christmas movie Home Alone. So make sure you check that out. I'm sure all of you have seen this film, and if you haven't, why not? Go and check out this film. It's great. So here are all our thoughts on that tomorrow. And then Christmas Day, we've got a very special free edition of Behind the BDE, where Braden and I are sipping hot chocolate with Baileys and talking all about Christmas. So check out that Christmas Day for free on this feed. And then Boxing Day over on the Patreon, we have our last Was Next of the year, talking about NXT from July 3rd, 2013, featuring Antonio Cesaro versus Bo Dallas for the NXT Championship. And if you want to go back in our archives, we've got so many shows. Last week, we had our Jack Off week with Jack Frost 1997 and Jack Frost 1998. We also have the finale of Succession up on this free feed, where I'm joined by our man Neil and JP Houlihan from the Grapple Spotlight to talk all about the incredible season finale of Succession. I believe last time I looked, this episode had a 9.9 rating on IMDb, wow, which is pretty good. So again, if you're looking for something to binge this holiday series, holiday season, I highly recommend Succession, and give our little show a go, because we'll be definitely coming back next year with another one. But that's all for the plugs from me today. I think it's time to talk about AEW Dynamite. And Siino, how about you take us away? What do you say on Shot in the Dark?
Let's get right down to it.
Absolutely. AEW Dynamite Holiday Bash, the 22nd of December, 2021. We open with Adam Cole, baby, taking on Orange Cassidy. The match starts with Orange Cassidy doing his lazy kicks, and Adam Cole returns by doing the Adam Cole, baby. But Cassidy grabs his hands and puts them in his own pockets, which Cole doesn't take too kindly to. There's a bunch of headlock takeovers from Cassidy. Cole goes to deliver a superplex, but Cassidy shoves him off the top and hits the high cross, followed by the satellite DDT for a 2 count. And this is when the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler come out to watch from ringside. Orange Cassidy jumps out of the ring to take out Brandon Cutler, and then the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, run out to kind of even the odds here. Cassidy then hits a tope suicida, taking out the Bucks, and then Cole exposes the knee and goes for the boom against the ring step, but Cassidy dodges, gets out the way, and Cole collides knee first into the steel steps. After the break, we see Cassidy delivering some more lazy kicks, but this time he's looking a bit more exhausted and they're even lazier than usual. We then get a super kick from Adam Cole, followed by the thrust kick from Cassidy, and then the Sushi Goroshi, the suplex lift into the Ushigoroshi from Adam Cole. Cole then goes for another Sushi Goroshi, but this gets countered into the Stun Dog Millionaire. We get the diving DDT from Cassidy, a Michinoku driver, and then Cassidy puts on his shades, goes up to the top, jumps off the top, but eats a super kick. Cole then follows up with the Panama Sunrise, which I thought looked great on Orange Cassidy here. Cole then puts his hands in his trunks, mocking Orange Cassidy, and goes for the cover with no arms, but Cassidy kicks out. Cole goes for the boom, but Cassidy moves out of the way and hits the beach break, and that's when Bobby Fish comes to ringside, and then the camera gets really tight on Orange Cassidy here, as you hear something's going on. All the crowd are reacting, and as Bobby is distracting the referee, Kyle O'Reilly comes from behind. The debuting Kyle O'Reilly. Yes, this was Adam Cole's Christmas present to the Bucks. He hits the axe and smash. Cole follows up with the boom. And 1, 2, 3, Adam Cole wins the match. And after the match, Kyle just starts this beatdown on Cassidy and then stands up, and there's a bit of a stare down between Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. The best friends run out, and then they... Cole and Kyle hold down Chuck. Kyle and O'Reilly hold Chuck for a super kick, and then there's the total elimination to Trent, and then they're all just standing as if they're like, we normally do a pose here, but I don't think we're allowed to do it here, so we're just going to stand and be kind of a bit awkward because we haven't worked out anything new yet. When the Young Bucks come in, and there's a bit of this stare-off where the Young Bucks don't look too pleased with Cole, with his friends being there in AEW, and Cole's stuck in the middle between the Bucks and Red Dragon, and then Cole leaves the ring, and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish leaves with him. First of all, Siino, thoughts on the match, and then we'll talk about this post-match here with the very expected debut of Kyle O'Reilly.
I thought the match was great. These two definitely worked very well with each other, with the whole Adam Cole kind of being like a douchebag, a-hole type of character, and just kind of like using that against Orange Cassidy's like antics. The whole match, though, I think I was expecting the Kyle O'Reilly thing, and I was actually a little surprised with how they did it, because like they teased like some sort of presence. I thought it was gonna be some sort of like back. I don't know if it was gonna be like an in-ring presentation where he was gonna announce him or what. But as soon as like the the camera tightened in on Orange Cassidy and the crowd erupted, okay, we're gonna get it this way. But I enjoyed the match and everything that happened after. It was very interesting. Actually, like it's true, like they don't know what to do with their hands, but I actually like that, because the first time these three were together at TakeOver when Adam Cole debuted, I'm pretty sure they did the same thing. They didn't have the whole hand signal. So it's kind of like the same pose that they had, if I'm not mistaken, of them three just kind of standing there. Yeah. And this whole storyline, obviously with the Young Bucks, we kind of expected it, but I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do. I think they're going to eventually, lead to Kenny Omega coming back and then doing that trios match. If we're not going to get maybe Young Bucks and Cutler before, I doubt they're going to go down that route. I think they're going to wait for Kenny Omega at this point and do that big 6-man match.
Yeah, I can't see Cutler being in the mix for that. I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a really hot opener. Both guys working pretty quick as well. I thought it was pretty exciting and a lot of back and forth. I wasn't overly keen on the reveal of Kyle. I kind of don't like it when it's. I think we're used to the way wrestling's shot now, and when you have that really tight shot and you're just seeing the crowd react. And Cassidy's kind of just stood there waiting to be attacked. And they did tease. I did kind of want something a little goofy with a giant box, to be honest. The way they teased it last week.
I'm trying to think if this was supposed to be like a recreation of... I have to go back and watch that TakeOver, but when Cole attacked Drew McIntyre, it was also like a tight shot on Drew, right? And then Cole kind of just showed up to super kick him, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm thinking maybe they tried to recreate that whole scene this time with the roles of Cole and Kyle kind of being swapped.
Very possibly, yeah. But I did find the stuff interesting at the end with kind of Cole leaving with them and the Bucks not looking too happy. But yeah, I mean, we're going to get some fantastic matches here. I'm pleased to see Kyle's cut his hair. He's no longer out there, Kyle. He's had a bit of a haircut. Looks like the classic Kyle O'Reilly. And as Fire Frank, our champion, points out in the Twitch room, Kyle is very forgiving.
Yeah.
Which was something I was a little surprised with. And I wonder if we see them address it at all, because AEW does tend to keep stuff from other companies as part of their canon. So I thought they might play maybe a little bit longer whether Kyle is with him or not. I saw Kyle and Bobby being a thing, but maybe not Kyle, Bobby, and Cole right away. But it's cool. I wonder if they're going to give themselves a name at all, or just be Cole Fish O'Reilly.
Yeah,
I think it would be weird and almost a bit cheaper to try and come up with a different name, and I think they should just be Cole Fish O'Reilly. Like, we know who they are. The crowd were chanting Undisputed here. We all know who they are in the relationship. You don't necessarily need to come up with a new name for them or anything.
Are we going to get a segment between Kyle and Orange where Kyle takes the shades, puts them on, and becomes Cool Kyle for a quick moment?
Yeah, he needs the little hat as well, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah. He'll do it.
And he has the jean. Well, he's got the cutoff jean jacket, right?
Yeah. He can do that. He can do the whole Cool Kyle versus Orange Cassidy matchup.
So it's then announced after this that on January 5th, which is the first TBS show, it's going to be Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW Championship against Bryan Danielson, Part 2. And we go right to an interview. Tony Schiavone in a lovely Christmas sweater interviewing Hangman Page, and he says, "You were so close to winning, and if the time hadn't run out there, you'd have won this. You had him beat." And Hangman says, "Nah, I'm going to stop you early. After 60 minutes, covered in sweat and blood and my arm barely hanging on, I was handed back this championship. And as we went to commercial and I was walking back up that ramp, I looked at this championship and realized after my 3 years here, I'd never felt less than a champion. The feeling from last week is disappointed." And that's when Bryan walks out and says, wait. This entitled millennial cowboy still has the AEW Championship over his shoulder and he's still disappointed? Oh, poor cowboy. I kicked your ass for 60 minutes last week, and if anyone should be AEW champion, it should be me. And we're going to have a rematch January 5th, and I'm going to kick your ass again. And if it wasn't for the fact that I hurt my leg against John Silver just the week previously, I would have destroyed you. So you know what? I'm not going to wrestle for these people. I'm not going to wrestle again until January 5th. And the problem is, if you go out January 5th and stall again for 60 minutes, we're going to be in exactly the same position as we are in now, with me being disappointed and this piece of shit having the title over his shoulder. So I suggest January 5th, we have judges. So if you decide to stall out again, everyone will know that the true AEW champion is Bryan Danielson. And then Hangman says, "Look, I've been thinking about this myself. Every type of match imaginable. I've been thinking Inferno matches, no time limit matches. But you did something that no one else in this company has done, and that's taking me beyond 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. You held me underwater for most of that match, but in the last seconds, I swam. And if I was given 3 more seconds, I'd have drowned you. So let's give some old guys a payday, but pay them up front, as they won't earn it, because I'm going to beat you in 60. But I've done so much for this to have some prick come out and say I'm not good enough and that I'm a B+ player. That's bullshit. In 2 weeks, they will find out if Hangman can beat Bryan in less than an hour. And the answer will be yes. Great work from both these guys here. And I like the judges thing. It's very old school. We've seen this at some of the reviews Braden and I have done. I think was it Flair Steamboat had the judges, and with Jason Hervey as one.
We got to get him back, right?
We've got to have him back, yeah. And the Frankenhooker, right? She's gonna be there as well.
Yeah, bring her back. Why not? This has always been a cool spot. They did this in the past. Even WWE has done it like in the past with people like Gorilla Monsoon being used, and I think Sergeant Slaughter. So it should be pretty cool. It's gonna be in Jacksonville. I'm pretty sure Tony Khan's gonna bring back 3 like real like old school legends. Maybe somebody like a Bret Hart. I wouldn't be surprised if he's comes back and does something like this. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. And of course, like the show that I'm like on the edge about going to or not, that's like an hour away from me. They want to make this main event, so now I'm just like, with everything going on now, like, do I want to do this? I definitely could make this show. I get off work at 5 and I can just head over there, but we'll see how the world is by the time this show happens. But I definitely would love to see this match live, definitely. And I like this whole like judges thing. So they said it still has a 60-minute time limit, but with judges, right? So in case it does go to the time limit draw. So my question is, they're going to have to, like, if they're paying up this stipulation that the judges are only going to be used in case of a draw, they're going to have to go to a draw again, you would think, right?
Well, not necessarily. That could be the expectation, that they're building it up as if you're preparing to go for a draw, but you don't necessarily have to go that way. I know in some of the matches we've, like Braden and I have reviewed, the judges have kind of been given their score during the match. Like commentary will say, oh, we've just had their scores handed in, and at the moment they have Hangman on top or whatever. It could be a way to throw you, to kind of subvert expectations where you think it's going to be a draw. But I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind if it's another draw. We've seen draws with the judges before. Happy to see these guys go for another hour. Absolutely.
So it's good that this is happening on that Dynamite. So obviously the match isn't going to happen at Battle of the Belts, which is a couple of days later. So it looks like that's a good idea. The fact that they're going to have other title matches for that 1 hour special. And
you're going to want to make that show big. It's the first TBS show. So I think this makes a lot more sense rather than putting it on the Battle of the Belts show. But no, I like the stipulation. I thought both guys sounded great here. Bryan is so good at that, just being that cocky asshole. I think his delivery is fantastic. I think he's a very underrated promo, Bryan Danielson, and is just so fantastic in this heel role. And Hangman, I love the callback to kind of the B-plus player stuff, bringing in Bryan's like WWE kind of catchphrases with the yes and all that. No, very, very strong segment for me.
For sure.
We go backstage to the Inner Circle, and MJF thanks Spears for being a great... Not the Inner Circle, sorry, the Pinnacle. Pinnacle, Jesus. MJF thanks Spears for being a great accountability buddy, but he says, "Big man," referring to Wardlow, "I pay you a lot of money to protect me." And it sounds like he's going to dress down Wardlow, and then he goes, "This isn't us, bud," pats him on the knee, says, "This is you, punk. You drive everyone insane. MJF and FTR are family, and you're a loner like that emo skateboarding punk and his creepy uncle. You're not going to be able to coexist. I see right through you." And that's when the real CM Punk comes out to play. The fact is, inside the ring, you're rougher than the rusty knife Darby uses to skin animals. And then I think he describes Sting as Krusty the Clown or something like that as well.
Yep.
And says, "When I offered to shake your hand and you walked away, you chose early retirement." And that's when Dax Harwood takes over, saying, "We didn't have a problem, but when you started on my family, you started on us. We're the 3 kings of pro wrestling, the best in the world, and when you're the Pinnacle, you're always on top." And that leads us well into our next match, which is Wardlow, who with Shawn Spears is taking on Captain Shawn Dean, and it goes powerbomb, 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 1, 2, 3. Again, they're playing with Spears, kind of telling Wardlow to put him away and stop it, go for the pin. I think they're doing a great job of, from this promo segment and this match, separating Wardlow from the pack, having him associated with these, but it was all like FTR talking about family, but it was FTR and MJF. It's the 3 of them with the 3 kings. Wardlow's only there because he's being paid by MJF. And the crowd are really getting into Wardlow's squash matches, and he seems like a babyface at this point.
No, for sure. I love how they're building up this Wardlow MJF thing. Just a thought that I had, like something that they could do down the line is have the finally MJF gives up and have this match with CM Punk, and CM Punk ends up winning, and it drives MJF to the point where he kind of goes like crazy and he wants a rematch, and then CM Punk is the one that doesn't want to give him the rematch, and he maybe puts MJF through like the 5 labors of Punk, and then maybe Wardlow becomes one of the labors that MJF has to fight or something. I could see in some way CM Punk pretty much using Wardlow as a weapon or some sort of obstacle for MJF to have to go through. It should be interesting. Like, it's a really, really slow build, but I like how they're doing this. And obviously, Wardlow's going to have to run through Shawn Spears and maybe the rest of the Pinnacle as well. But when Wardlow does have that babyface turn, I think he's going to get a big reaction. He's obviously, they're doing these powerbomb spots on purpose to get Wardlow over with the crowd. Obviously, they're chanting for more powerbombs. So just imagine when he's actually like supposed to be cheered by the audience.
Yeah. And delivering multiple powerbombs to MJF is going to be a huge moment. No, I like this build. It's slow. It's been subtle and growing and growing. I think they're doing a good job here. We then get a video package of Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara for Christmas Day. They refer back to this being the first match that was on Dynamite, and Sammy kind of being saying that was the biggest match of his career and that this time he wants to win. And you've got a few talking heads saying kind of Cody made that title with his open challenges, and Sammy's been delivering the same caliber of matches. And Sammy finishes off by saying, all you're getting is a lump of coal and an ass kicking from me. We have a few lump of coal references this week.
Yeah.
This leads us on to our next segment with Dan Lambert. And I'm going to admit, I don't know how you are with writing the reports here, but Dan Lambert is possibly the hardest one to take notes on because it's just a mile a minute of all this stuff. But I'll try my best to recap this. He says, William Shakespeare says, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I don't expect people like you to understand that. You worry about whether to download the latest app on your smartphone or turn the light off in your mum's basement. But I run the most successful MMA fucking camp thing in the world. My fighters are successful and deserving. However, Tony Khan uses the buddy system. If you're a buddy, you're an MVP. And if you're not, maybe you get some vignettes here and there. Well, Scorpio Sky is the first tag team champion in AEW and the only person who has 2 pinfall victories over Chris Jericho. And Ethan Page dresses well, is pretty much what he said here. No, he continues. He wrestles better than everyone, blah, blah, blah. Yet we see Cody get another title shot. Now, let me give an example of Tony setting someone up for failure. Because I got set a hopeless assignment tonight. I was sent out here to get you people to cheer for Cody Rhodes. How am I supposed to do that when Cody is a bigger dick than I am? I don't give a damn who you cheer for or who you boo. I don't care if it's Cody or Sammy. My only concern is one of you guys gets a title shot after this, referring to Sky and Page, and bring the title back to American Top Team. Thoughts on Dan Lambert here? Yeah,
like, I don't really understand this because, like, I feel like he's in his company, but he's like anti Tony Khan. So we're supposed to think that he doesn't work for AEW. But then he talks about how he was sent out there by Tony Khan to do a certain assignment, which I don't know, kind of contradicts like his whole thing. I don't hate Dan Lambert, but I feel like it just, and it's been said by multiple people, that it doesn't work with Men of the Year. Why can't you put Dan Lambert with somebody like a Brian Cage if he's still there? I don't know where he is. Or even like a Miro. Like a Miro makes sense. I think somebody in the chat room brought it up as well, how this kind of like relates to what Miro went through and not getting chances. So it's like, I like the idea, but I just don't like it with Scorpio and Ethan Page. Nothing against them. Like they were good on their own. I feel like they didn't need Dan Lambert to do all the talking when Ethan Page is one of the best talkers they have in AEW, and this guy never opens his mouth anymore for the most part. So the whole segment was kind of just weird, and it's like like, what are they even building to? Are they saying that like Cody's gonna win? Because they made it seem like Cody is feuding with them. So are they saying that Cody's gonna win the title and then have to defend against Scorpio or Page? Like, I'm not sure what they're actually like building to.
I mean, that's what it feels like because they're barely throwing any digs at Sammy here. So, yeah, perhaps Cody's winning this thing on Christmas Day, which is going to make him a huge heel. Beating Sammy Guevara on Christmas.
The Christmas miracle, you know? Poor Sammy. I think Sammy's had a pretty rough week as it is. To lose the title on Christmas, I don't think he needs that.
Yeah, poor Pam.
Yes, poor Pam.
I'm completely with you. I like Dan Lambert, but I feel he's come back way too soon. I'd have liked to have seen him stay off for a little bit and come back with, as you suggested, maybe a Brian Cage would fit better because he's someone who isn't a great talker and looks more like the kind of person Dan Lambert would like. It's a big, muscly man rather than these pretty boys in nice shirts. I think, like, Scorpio Sky, his promo's okay. I think Ethan Page is a very good talker, and just the two of them, you can have Page carry most of the talking with Sky talk here and there. But all they do is laugh. It's just Dan Lambert talking and these two laugh. I feel I've seen Ethan Page laugh way more than I've seen him wrestle since being in AEW. And I don't think it was working at this point, and I am surprised to see Dan Lambert back with these people. And I like Lambert, but yeah, I think it's been a bit too much of him recently. We go to our Britt Baker Christmas party. We have Britt, we have Tony, we have Jamie Hayter and Rebel. And they say, Merry Christmas to you all, Happy Holiday Bash. And Tony says to Britt, you've never beaten Riho. And Britt says, well, I'm bigger and stronger than Riho, and I'm the women's champion. And I have Jamie Hayter by my side. And Tony goes, well, Jamie Hayter's never beaten Riho either. And she goes, look, Tony, you can't bring up 2021 without bringing up the era of DMD. I built my own throne and my own kingdom. I built this division from the ground up and am a pillar in AEW. You think Rio is going to dethrone me? You have another thing coming. You should have stayed under the bottom rope in that battle royal. And then she said, you'll shoot your eye out, kid, which I think is a reference I went over my head there.
Christmas Story. Please tell me you've seen A Christmas Story, Davey.
What?
A Christmas Story? Have you not seen A Christmas Story?
Is that what Johnny Gargano's always going on about?
Yeah, he goes in front of the house every Christmas. Okay, now we know what we're picking next year for Christmas. A Christmas Story. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
I mean, John, I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands over the next 10 days, so I might fit it in this year.
There we go. I like this segment. It was fun. Actually, it reminded me earlier on during the Cole match how like Shivani was trying to take a dig at Adam Cole. He's like, his hair, it's so greasy, and Taz is like, Tony, Adam Cole's like one of the most like the better looking men we have on our roster right now. I don't know what you're talking about, but this segment was good for what it was. Obviously, we're gonna get this match. I don't know when. Did they announce it for Battle of the Belts? Yeah, it's gonna happen at Battle of the Belts,
Battle
right?
of the Belts, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get this match. And obviously the story is that Rio, that Baker has never beat Rio, and I think Baker's gonna get the win, obviously. But it should be a good match. Yeah,
I like the setting of this as well. It was kind of like a Santa's Grotto kind of thing with all of them in their Christmas sweaters and Britt sipping on some wine. This group are always fun together. That leads us to our Owen Hart video, and just kind of promoting this, the Owen Hart Foundation and this tournament that's coming up next year for both the men and the women. A lot of talking heads. We had Mark Henry, who says he learned about ribbing from Owen Hart, how to take a rib and how to give a rib, and calls him family, because obviously they were in the Nation together, weren't they, Owen and Mark?
Oh yeah, they were very close. Yeah, they were very close.
Adam Cole says he learned about what technical wrestling was from Owen, and especially his match with his brother Brett. You got Matt Hardy, who says Owen put smaller guys on the map, smaller guys who are more athletic, and proved that they are very important in the world of wrestling. You've got 2.0 saying that the stuff Owen did blew their mind. And Eddie Kingston says, where I came from, we learned that a real man takes care of his family, and Owen did just that. got Dustin Rhodes saying he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. Henry says he brought a lot of fun and life into the world of wrestling. Spears calls him a beautiful soul and of a human being. And then Adam Cole finishes by saying the legacy is not all about what he did in the ring, but what he did outside the ring too. And throughout all of this, you had obviously no WWE footage here, but plenty of like New Japan footage. There was like him against Liger, lots of sort of family videos, stuff from their wedding and all that. I thought this was great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. This whole presentation I think is going to be done very well and classy. It should be a really fun tournament. It should be interested in who they're going to get for this tournament. You know, obviously Kevin Owens is not going to be available like some people thought he would be by May. But maybe somebody like a Kyle O'Reilly could be in this tournament. You know, people that fit like that fighting style that Owen Hart had. So yeah, it should be interesting, and I'm pretty sure the whole thing is going to be really good. Once we get up into the finals at Double or Nothing, it should be a really cool tournament overall, and hopefully they'll do it maybe every year.
Yeah, I'm expecting maybe a more of a round robin style. Yeah. Maybe not full G1 like 10 either side, but maybe 5 each side, and you can spread these matches across like Dynamite and Rampage. And it's good. It just gives maybe a lot of these undercard matches a bit more weight and a bit more meaning. No, I'm looking forward to this. I like tournaments.
I will say though, for the women's tournament, like nothing against like the roster they have now for the women's, but I feel like they need to bring in a couple new faces. And there's obviously a lot out there. You have your Tegan Knox, you have your Ember Moon. There's definitely names out there they can bring in. I think for this tournament, I think that will definitely capitalize off of it.
Yeah, Mia Yim as well.
Yep.
Whether you ever reopen that door at all, that forbidden door, and have like a Deonna come, but I feel we'd have seen that by now, but I'd be all for that as well. Well, speaking of the women, we go to our AEW TBS Women's Championship Tournament semi-final. It's Nyla Rose taking on Ruby Soho, and Nyla jumps the bell, attacking Ruby, and she pulls the jacket over Ruby's head to kind of do the hockey, the jersey and beating up. But then realizes that Ruby's struggling to get out of this and just stops the beat down, and then like tries to help Ruby get out of this jacket, and then Ruby's trying to get out of the jacket. I think this was stupid. Yeah, I think a more experienced performer would continue the attack and I feel it was down to Aubrey here to almost step in, like separate and help get Nyla in the corner. Because Nyla just looked dumb. Because she's attacking this woman before the bell. And then it's like, oh, I better wait for you to get your jacket off. Really.
Yeah, they were keeping the camera tight on Nyla. Well, I guess, Aubrey was trying to help her out or whatever. But yeah, it was definitely something that they didn't plan. And obviously, just a little hiccup to start the match. But it could have been easily resolved, I feel like.
Yeah, jacket time 2.0. Yeah, really, really awkward start here. We then get a clothesline from Nyla when, Ruby eventually gets the jacket off. Nyla continues to beat down. After the commercial break, Nyla gets a steel chair, but Ruby drop kicks it in her face. And then Vicky interferes and knocks Ruby off the top. She gets strung up on the top rope, and Nyla comes down with her big knee across the draped Ruby, and this time hitting it across the shoulder. So now Ruby's now selling the shoulder. Ruby manages to apply a standing dragon sleeper to Nyla, and Nyla's tapping, but Vicky is distracting the referee. And then Nyla hits the beast bomb, but Ruby kicks out. And then Nyla goes up to the top rope, and Ruby pulls her off and hits the... Is she now calling it the no future?
No future kick, yeah.
No future kick, and picks up the win. So Ruby Soho advances to the final of the TBS tournament, which I imagine will take place on that January 5th show, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, it would make sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Thoughts on the match, John?
The finish was good. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't like this match. It's I don't know. The match just obviously had the bad start. Vicky Guerrero just like one too many times on the apron, and the match just felt really slow. Like I don't know if they're trying to be extra careful or what, but like every like sequence, like they were just going in slow motion. I felt like it never picked up into that second gear, but the ending was great. Like the fact that she pulled her off the rope and hit the no future kick, but everything before that, it just didn't really do anything for me, unfortunately. Even going into this, for some reason I didn't think these two would have really clicked. So obviously the other side is Thunder Rosa and Jade. So I'm guessing Rosa's gonna somehow get the match cost and lose the match, and then we're gonna get that Jade Ruby Soho final.
I feel both women can be very good and can be just quite awkward at times, and I didn't think the chemistry was good here at all. The beginning of the match obviously didn't help, and that obviously wasn't planned. But I feel Vicky's interference, I mean, obviously there's the classic where the fuck is Vicky, but I always feel she's just a little off her timing with it. Like, I feel Nyla was tapping right in front of the referee before Vicky was even getting up on the apron.
She was definitely tapping. And the thing is, like, Nyla had her head down, so maybe she thought that Vicky was already on the apron. Like, she probably had no idea what was going on, but I definitely saw her tapping. I'm like, yeah, the match is over.
And I also feel in a few of Ruby's matches recently, she's relying on, like, kickouts a bit too much. Like, the Beast Bomb has been putting away a lot of people, and this kick out, and obviously we had the Statlander match, which had a lot of kickouts as well, and there's a time and a place for that, for the big near falls and stuff, but I almost feel it's a bit cheap and kind of unearned in this match to do the big kick out of the finisher.
Right.
And there were a few in this match, a few big moves where you go, that normally puts them away, and I don't feel this match has really reached that level where we're kicking out of each other's finishes yet. But I did like the finish with the pulling off the top for the no future kick.
And thank you to the chat room for confirming. Yeah, next week is going to be the other semifinal match with Jade and Thunder Rosa, and they did announce the following Wednesday will be the finals on January 5th, which makes sense on TBS. Yep.
I can't keep up. Towards the end of the show, when they just announce all the matches for the next, like, 3 shows, it's so quick, and I'm just like, what's happening? Hook's wrestling again? What?
Yeah, and it's like I do the report. Like, I watch like the live. I go on like the TNT website. I did a report on my computer, so I can't really pause the feed. I mean, I could, but it makes things like irritating, especially if I'm timing the matches or whatever. But yeah, it's sometimes they throw in so much information. And right when you're trying to take a breather, Excalibur is like, and let's cut to the back where Tony Schiavone's with Britt, and now let's go to next week. We're gonna find out the matches, and here's the main event. It's like, dude, like, calm down and let me like relax a little bit and just like, rest. They do a lot.
I mean, to be fair to them, not everyone is watching this show and taking notes, but
that's true.
when you are, it is pretty like, fuck, what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, from a live perspective, from being a fan, I would love it because it's like all the stuff is being thrown at you. So that was great. But then I could see that being an issue. Like, can I get up and get a beer? Like, can I relax for a second? So yeah, but you're right. They're not doing it for us. They're doing it for the fans.
Now I don't know if you've got. I might have missed the next bit because I was chatting to my chef at work about COVID. So I've got Malakai versus Griff Garrison next. Was there any vignette or something just before that?
Yes, they're showing highlights of the Serena Deeb Hikaru Shida match from last week, and basically just Serena Deeb talking, and she was saying how like the feud is far from over. They're gonna be wrestling again, and the next time that they're in the ring together, Shida's gonna be begging Tony Khan to keep Deeb away from her, basically. So that feud isn't over.
Okay, so do you assume maybe some kind of gimmick match?
You would think so, because they had the rubber match, right? So they had the 3 matches. They're going to have some sort of match, but what would it be? Like, I mean, they keep using these kendo sticks, so I'm guessing some sort of, like, no DQ match or street fight or something
kendo
along those lines.
stick on a pole?
Yeah, there we go. They could have did it for Christmas. You could have had your candy kendo stick
cane on a pole match. Yeah. We've seen that before, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah, WWE has done that plenty of times. But I could see them doing some sort of gimmick match or something, yeah.
Good, cool. Like, I think these two are great against each other, so I don't mind one more between these. And then I think I'd like to see after this, depending on who wins the TBS title, I want to see Deeb in the mix for that pretty soon. I think.
Yeah, I think that's why they're keeping them busy. I feel like they want to keep them busy, but also in like people's vision, so that way whenever they do have a TBS champion, whoever wins, it could be Shida or Deeb going after the winner.
Like I could totally see a like Britt Baker winning this tournament and Serena Deeb kind of being the first big feud there, and then once Britt, I assume, beats Riho, you probably have Thunder Rosa chasing that title. They're the two feuds I see.
Yeah, I see Baker and Rosa fighting for the AEW Women's title, and I see Ruby Soho winning the TBS tournament and doing Ruby and Serena.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
So we go to Malakai Black versus Griff Garrison. Griff very upset with Malakai spitting mist in his kind of sister's face the other week, and wants revenge.
Sister, it's our sister.
He said he's gonna break his jaw. So the match starts. We get a roundhouse kick from Black. Griff manages to catch Black with a tope suicida to the outside, but Malakai comes back with a knee bar, and then just these sickening, crazy stiff kicks from Black. He's hitting the legs, he's hitting the ribs. I think Excalibur calls out there's been like 10 just unprotected, really stiff kicks from Black. Griff manages to catch Malakai with a rolling elbow, but Black manages to lock in a single-legged Boston Crab with Griff Garrison tapping out. Black picks up the win, but doesn't let go of the hold. So Brian Pillman jumps him to get him off and eats a black mass from Black. No sign of the possible spooky Julia Hart we're all assuming is going to happen, and no sign of Brody King this week.
I think that's smart because you had the Kyle O'Reilly reveal earlier, so they're gonna save that for next week or maybe even in Newark. But yeah, this match was good. Like, I'm looking at my notes and there was so many like things they did in this match. And I look at the time; it was only 3 minutes and 14 seconds, and they got so much stuff done in those 3 minutes. I thought the match right when it started, I thought like that was it. I thought he was gonna run into the Black Mass and they ended it. But I like the fact that like Black, went after the knee of Griff Garrison and beat him by submission. I think that was pretty cool, and we got to see the Black Mass anyway when he destroyed Pillman with it after the match. But yeah, it should be good. This whole feud, obviously, I think it's going to lead to Brody King coming in, but I'm more intrigued on what's going to happen with Julia. Like, is Julia going to be part of the House of Black? I feel like she is.
I think
my only negative about that is it going to be like Alexa Bliss? You know?
I agree.
Yeah, so that's my only like negative about it, but I can definitely see that happening.
I agree. I knew Griff was going to get killed here, but the very little he got in, I thought he looked very good, actually. And I think they redeemed Pillman a bit making the save, because I think last week he kind of seemed kind of weak, not wanting to go after Black, where he was like, hey, no, that guy's scary, you know? So I think Pillman kind of redeemed himself a little bit this week.
Yeah, for sure.
We then get an announcement that it's going to be Jungle Boy versus Isaiah Cassidy on Rampage. And we have Matt Hardy. As much as Braden keeps insisting Hardy Family Office is done, sorry, it's not. It's still a thing.
You know, if Braden Harrington would listen to Shine in the Dark every week, he would see that every single week, Matt Hardy, Isaiah Cassidy, and The Blade have trios matches. They're not going anywhere. There's always a member of the Hardy Family Office on one of these shows, and I'm happy they got to show themselves on Dynamite, so Braden can see. And of course, the week that they do appear on Dynamite, he's not even watching. So in his mind, Hardy Family Office does not exist, but they're there, and they were talking about pounding ass on Christmas or something.
Oh
right?
yeah. Matt Hardy says that Isaiah Cassidy is gonna pound that ass and injure you. And if you're injured, that number one contender status is deleted because the Jungle Men, Jurassic Express are the current number one contenders for the tag titles, I guess. Then we get Jungle Boy, who says, "You think you're gonna pound my ass at Christmas? I don't think so. I'm gonna wake up Christmas morning and I'm gonna open my presents, and then later in the day I'm gonna shove coal up your ass and you're going to spit out diamonds." And then Christian just does a commercial for AEWshop.com, which was a bit weird. And the dinosaur roars. Yeah, it's kind of odd promos here, John.
Yeah, I number one, I hope that Marco Stunt is gonna have a successful run on The Voice, because he's not to be being put on the merch anymore. He's just totally like excommunicated from the Jurassic Express. And then pounding on San Christmas. It seems like a good way to spend your weekend. I'm pretty sure I've had my shares of Christmas. Yeah, so it was very weird. And,
I
yeah,
ain't pounding any ass this Christmas, John.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna
me
be
neither.
I don't think I'm even
Not
gonna
this
be
year.
pounding a turkey's ass this year. Because dinner for one this year.
Brandon from New Jersey, you know what to do.
Yeah. Jim Ross returns next week, and you can hear this got a good audible cheer from this North Carolina crowd. And we're gonna get the Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends taking on Don't Call Them Undisputed Era next week. Cole Fish O'Reilly happening. So,
Yeah, according to Tony Schiavone, it's the newly formed trio of Cole, Fish, and Kyle. So obviously, Tony never watched NXT. He never knew these three were together. I feel like.
yeah. And that leads us to the main event of the evening. MJF and FTR taking on Sting, Darby Allin, and CM Punk. MJF and FTR all in yellow this week. Do you know what this was the reference to?
I don't know. I'm guessing it was some sort of like horseman thing. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I was assuming.
Or yellow, yeah.
Sting makes his return for the first time in a long time, back like I never left, in North Carolina, the Greensboro Coliseum. Obviously, this is a pretty famous wrestling venue where Sting, especially in the kind of old NWA, WCW days, has been in a lot. So big kind of homecoming for Sting here with awesome face paint on.
This is amazing.
He's got the CM Punk taped up fists on his forehead with the lightning bolts on his cheeks. Looked awesome with the CM Punk shirt over the stinglet. And then Darby, I couldn't quite work out what his makeup was.
I think he was trying to go for like Crow inspired Sting, but he was using purple for some reason. But like then he had like the Finn Balor neck thing. I don't know what he was going for, but obviously with CM Punk doing the other Sting, I feel like maybe he was trying to do a different version of Sting, maybe.
Yeah, like I thought maybe did he go for like Wolfpack Sting but had pink instead of red? Like
Got
Darby,
the colors mixed up, yeah.
I feel he even like had pink in his hair as well. I don't quite get the Darby reference here. But then Punk, as you mentioned, coming out as the Blade Runner, the more the original Sting makeup.
That was amazing. And he was trying to do the howl in the beginning, and he totally like couldn't do it. Like his voice cracked. I thought that was great though. It was great, the whole presentation.
Also, Punk in Long Boys this week, but kind of Sting inspired tights as well. Yeah, I'm a big fan of CM Punk, and I think it's really, really sad when you see someone lose their passion in something. And obviously we all heard like the Colt Cabana interview. We've heard him like little sound bites of him saying, "I'll never wrestle again." And we know how miserable he was at the end of his WWE run. But it's so pleasing to see him kind of here just being a bit of a fan, you know, and coming out like cosplaying Sting, partnering with Sting in the Greensboro Coliseum. It's really awesome to see how much this guy has kind of fallen back in love with wrestling again. I love it. But
yeah, it was great. This whole team itself was like 3 generations too. You got, your Sting, old school. You got your CM Punk, which was more like, I guess, modern day wrestling, and then obviously Darby being like the future. It was definitely a good combination, and the whole face paint thing was good. You know what it reminded me of? Like, like in the old like 2K video games, even before then, you just want to customize wrestlers and put them all part of the same stable, and then like you're customizing Sting, and you're just like, I want to make it part of CM Punk's thing, but all I have is his logo. You know what? Let me just take his logo and just pop it on his face, and there we go. He's part of the stable. That's what it seemed like to me. But it was great. It was awesome. I want to see the action. They're gonna make action figures of all 3 of these, aren't they? Like, it's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, and I think AEW are very good at this, making. I mean, this is just a TV main event, but making it feel a bit more special and a bit more memorable. And I know the whole Ghostbusters thing and the Space Jam thing that we've seen before with like the Elite isn't everyone's cup of tea. But for a TV show, I remember that way more than what happened on Raw 2 days ago. Like it it stays with you. And I think right just from these entrances, I'm going to remember this match, and it feels special, which otherwise could just feel like a bit of a thrown together team of Darby, Sting, and Punk. So the whole story of this match is MJF trying to evade CM Punk. He doesn't want to make any contact with him, any physicality at all. So we're starting off with Punk and MJF in the ring, and MJF goes to kind of lock up, but immediately tags out. So we have Dax the Axe and Punk. They start shoving each other, slapping each other. Then we get Darby and MJF in the ring, and it looks like they're going to lock up, but Darby runs to tag in Punk. And what I loved here is it didn't make Darby look like a coward at all, but he knows the game plan. It's like Punk wants his hands on him, so he's like, go on, go get him. So MJF's just running away. Punk then tags in Sting, who goes up against Cash Wheeler. MJF is now in the ring with Sting and hits a chop, which kind of gets no-sold, and Sting just grabs him by the arm. We got a bit of a tug of war as Sting is trying to drag MJF into his corner to tag in Punk, but MJF's fighting back, so gets met with a short arm clothesline, and then Punk chases MJF through the stands. The Pinnacle then start beating down on Darby, isolating him for a while, and then Darby catches Cash with a Michinoku driver and makes the tag. The ultimate hot tag to Sting, who looked fucking great here. He's slamming Dax's head against every turnbuckle. He's hitting the Stinger Splash to both members of FTR. And then Punk comes in, delivering the running knees to each corner onto FTR. There's the suplex splash combo from FTR to Punk for a 2 count. And then something happened at the timekeeper's table, but the camera kind of missed it, and I think commentary missed it, because they're like, don't know what happened there, but we just see the timekeeper's table is completely knocked over. We then get the big rig from FTR is hit on Punk, but Sting breaks up the pin. MJF then comes in with a DDT to Sting, and then MJF's gloating, but Sting no-sells it, gets back up, crotches him on the ropes, and then launches MJF out of the ring. And this looked pretty scary, because it looked like MJF landed right on his head. Yeah. Check out the replay for this. But obviously MJF did quite a bit afterwards, so let's hope he's all right here. Sting then climbs to the top rope and hits a high crossbody to the Pinnacle on the floor. This crowd go crazy for this. And then Punk is setting up for the GTS on MJF, but Dax shoves MJF out of the way to eat the GTS, followed by the Scorpion Death Drop from Sting and the Coffin Drop for the 1, 2, 3. The babyfaces, Team Sting, win. And then after the match, MJF is pissed and goes and grabs the commentary headset and says, "Look at Punk there, he was running like a scolded dog, the coward," and just berating Punk to end the show. But really fun main event here.
Yeah, this match was fantastic. It reminded me of like a house show match, or like a show that they would have like after Raw finishes airing just for the live crowd. Just had like, those spots like that. Yeah, I think the spot that we missed, like you later on see like MJF and Darby crawling out of under the timekeeper's table. So I'm guessing it was some sort of dive by Darby into him. The only thing I would probably I didn't hate it, but like having Punk chase MJF up the crowd and then down the crowd and through the door, like I could have maybe done without that, but it was fun. It was fun for the crowd, I guess, to see that happening. But that dive that MJF had, that was so scary the second he fell. Like I thought he fell right on his head and his neck. And then Sting right after, it's a simple crossbody you would think, but this is Sting up there in age doing it. So it's still scary to see. And I feel like there was a lot of focus tonight, not only in the match, but even earlier on Dax Harwood. I feel like he got the talking spot earlier. It was just him that spoke from FTR. And then during this match, I feel like he was in most of the match. So I'm wondering if they might be thinking of maybe down the road doing a singles thing. I would love to see Dax Harwood as like a single star. I feel like he has the better presence overall with talking and even wrestling style. I wouldn't be opposed to possibly down the line seeing like a Dax Harwood solo run or going after a title. But yeah, I love this match. It was great, up and down, and everything from the entrances to the ring gear, to the finishes, having them get all the finishers and winning the match that way. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, there were some big spots here, but like very, very different from, say, your opening with Cassidy and Cole. These are pros, and they really know how to work that crowd and to get the most out of each moment. And I think what they're building with Punk and MJF, like Punk wanting to get his hands on MJF and MJF always escaping, is great, because you could have easily had them just come to blows in this match, and it takes something away when they eventually do. Whereas now you're really building that anticipation for when they finally meet one-on-one and Punk gets his hands on him. I thought this was a really, really fun match, and AEW continues to make each town they work in feel special. This is a big deal because it's Sting going to this venue. Obviously Punk in Chicago, you have Britt in Pittsburgh. I think it's such an easy thing to do, but you're making it in such a way where the crowds you're always going to be a favorite there. Like Long Island, let's say, like how many shows have WWE shows we've seen from Long Island, and it means nothing. Yeah. Whereas now, like, I'd love to go to a Long Island show to see an MJF match just to see that reaction. I've seen Punk in Chicago. I'd love to see Britt in Pittsburgh, that kind of thing. Whereas WWE announced, this show's here. It could literally take place anywhere and mean nothing. So I think that's something you've got to give a lot of credit to AEW for, where they do make each week feel slightly different and slightly special.
And one last thing I'll say about the crowd is, we just got all this back. Who knows if they're going to take it away? If you're going to these shows, be better. Don't be stupid. And you guys can just look up on Twitter on what this is referring to. But don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot. Don't bring stupid signs to the show. Don't do anything stupid. Don't jump into the ring like they've been doing recently on these wrestling shows. That was just, I saw some really stupid things, like, in 2021, like you wouldn't expect it, but here we are.
Yeah, respect each other, guys. Come on. Respect the performers, respect yourselves, respect each other. It's Christmas, for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
All right. Well, overall, thumbs up for tonight's show. I thought it was pretty entertaining, especially the main event and that first match and the debut of Kyle O'Reilly there.
Yeah, for sure. And I usually don't look up spoilers, but I am a little interested because I doubt I'll be watching Rampage on Christmas Day. But I am a little interested in what's going on with this whole Sammy and Cody thing. So I'm pretty sure the spoilers are out there. I might just find out exactly what happened with that match. I'm a little interested.
All right. Well, John, awesome having you on the show as always. Any final little plugs where we can find you? Any final thoughts for today?
Yeah, I mean, check out my shirt, ProWrestlingTees.com/upNXT for Shot in the Dark. Listen to Shot in the Dark. We have a new episode up today. Listen to me on MCU Later with Way and WH, who's a nerd, by the way. And listen to me later on this week in the British Wrestling Experience with me and Davie Portman teaming up in the big quiz. What do they call it? The big
fat wrestling quiz of the year.
Big fat wrestling quiz of the year. Check us out on there, along with a couple other familiar names and voices. And hopefully I feel better, and hopefully Davie feels better, and hopefully everybody feels better, and we can just finish this year and head over to 2022, or as I've heard, 2020 Part 2, the sequel.
2022 is gonna be lit.
Yeah, and Braden, make it back to Canada, hopefully in one piece, and stop butt dialing people while you're having interesting conversations in Planet Hollywood.
All right, well. Thank you as always, John. Always a pleasure talking to you. That is the last show before the holidays that I'm going to be recording. We've got everything else in the can, ready to release for you. But thank you very much, as always, for listening to us and supporting us. And I hope, from myself, from Braden, and I'm going to speak on your behalf as well, John. I wish you all very happy holidays, whatever you're doing. Whatever you celebrate, whatever your beliefs, stay safe, whether it's on your own, with loved ones, have the best time. Merry Christmas, guys. Take care. Ahoy!
First time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davie, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite.